Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Alex Cora drops a bombshell, Marcelo Mayer's S. Baseball is back, baby. And the Boston Red Sox couldn't even make it through the first week of spring without dropping a storyline that has every single fan sitting up straight in their chair. Just when we thought we had the infield situation figured out, Red Sox manager Alex Cora walked up to a microphone and said something that sent shockwaves through Red Sox Nation. The guy we all assumed was locked in as the opening day second baseman? Yeah, apparently nothing is locked in, nothing is guaranteed. And the reasons why are more layered, more dramatic, and frankly more fascinating than anyone expected, heading into what should be a clean, clear spring training narrative. So buckle up, because today we are breaking down every single angle of this story: the injury that started it all, the manager's bold statement, the numbers that tell the real truth, and what all of it means for the future of one of the most exciting young players in the Red Sox system. Let's start at the very beginning, because to understand why Alex Cora's words hit the way they did, you need to understand the domino effect that set the whole thing in motion. It began with Romy Gonzalez, who was widely considered either the platoon option or the primary solution at second base heading into this season. Romy was no slouch in that role either. The guy absolutely demolished left-handed pitching last year, batting an eye-popping 331 with 7 home runs and 25 RBI against lefties. He was a genuine weapon, the kind of specialist matchup nightmare that championship rosters are built around. So when reports started coming in that Romy Gonzalez was going to be limited for 2 weeks and would not be participating in team workouts before another check-in with doctors, people were understandably concerned. And then came the detail that made it worse. Tests reportedly showed a small tear in his shoulder. Now, Gonzalez himself tried to pump the brakes on the panic, saying that everyone has a tear and that tear size doesn't always align with the severity of symptoms. And look, that's a fair medical point. But here's the reality that every Red Sox fan felt in their gut the moment they read those words. Romy Gonzalez is not going to be ready for opening day, and depending on how his next evaluation goes, we could be looking at an extended absence that reshapes the entire infield picture for Boston, which naturally brought all eyes to Marcelo Mayer. The 22-year-old phenom, the guy who has been the crown jewel of the Red Sox farm system for years now, the player that prospect analysts have been drooling over since he was drafted out of high school, suddenly he wasn't just the next exciting chapter of Red Sox history. He was the guy the team needed right now, in real life, at second base, on opening day. And for a hot minute, that felt like a done deal. The math was simple. Romy's hurt, Mayer's the most talented option available, plug him in and let the kid play. Red Sox Nation was ready to embrace it. People were excited. It felt like the natural, obvious answer. And then Alex Cora opened his mouth and complicated everything. Here's the quote that has everyone talking. Cora said that Marcelo Mayer needs to earn a job on the Red Sox opening day roster, and that he still has some things to show this spring. When pressed on what specifically Mayer needs to demonstrate, Cora did not mince words. He said Mayer needs to be better offensively than he was in the majors last year. And one reporter, cutting right to the chase, threw out a prediction that Mayer's most likely destination might actually be AAA Worcester rather than Boston's opening day lineup. Cora didn't shut that down. He made it crystal clear. Nothing is guaranteed. Now let's talk about what those major league numbers actually looked like last year, because context matters enormously here. Mayer slashed 228/272/402 in his big league time. Those are not the numbers of a guy who locked down a starting job. They're the numbers of a promising young player who was thrust into a situation he wasn't quite ready for yet, which, to be completely fair, is exactly what happened. Mayer was never supposed to be in the majors this early. The injuries and circumstances essentially accelerated his timeline, and he found himself at the highest level of professional baseball before the Red Sox originally envisioned putting him there. You can't evaluate him the same way you'd evaluate a player who was fully expected to be on the opening day roster from day one of spring training the previous year. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the part of the story that the mainstream sports media tends to gloss right over. When you dig into the splits, the picture becomes far more specific and far more telling. Against right-handed pitching, Mayer posted a 248 average, a 294 on-base percentage, and a 446 slugging percentage with 4 home runs across 101 at-bats. Those are usable numbers. Those are numbers a young player can build on. But against left-handed pitching, in 26 at-bats, Mayer hit 154 with a 185 on-base percentage and a slugging percentage of just 231. That is a severe platoon split, the kind that tells a major league manager everything he needs to know about how to deploy and how to attack a player. And when Romy Gonzalez, the team's best weapon against lefties, is now sitting in a sling waiting on doctors, that platoon vulnerability at second base becomes one of the most pressing concerns on the entire roster. So, is Cora genuinely worried, or is this something else entirely? Here's the take that might surprise you, and it's actually the more optimistic read of this whole situation. Alex Cora is not stupid. He has managed championship-caliber teams. He understands player psychology. He knows what makes young, talented players perform at their ceiling and what causes them to sleepwalk through opportunities they should be seizing. And when you look at Marcelo Mayer, who is famously laid back, famously comfortable in the spotlight, a guy who has his own viral social media presence and whose name rings bells far beyond just the baseball world, sometimes the most effective tool in a manager's kit is not a pat on the back. Sometimes it's a little fire, a little uncertainty, a little public reminder that nothing is handed to anyone, not even the top prospect in your system. This statement from Cora could very well be exactly that. A carefully calculated message delivered directly to a young player who Cora knows is plugged into social media, who will absolutely hear this quote, and who needs to understand that comfort is the enemy of greatness at this level. Cora may be lighting a match under Marcelo Mayer because he genuinely believes this kid is capable of a breakout spring, and he wants to make absolutely sure Mayer comes into every single at-bat this spring with something to prove. And here's the thing. The evidence that Mayer can absolutely respond to that challenge is already on the record. Last spring training 2025, Mayer was a different player entirely. He appeared in the most games of any spring training in his career. He racked up 12 hits, 6 runs, 2 triples, a homer, and 11 RBI. His average sat at .333. His on-base percentage was a sparkling .455. His slugging percentage crossed the .500 mark. Those are not the numbers of a player with question marks. Those are the numbers of someone who is locked in, confident, and ready to compete. And when you pair those spring training numbers with his underlying prospect metrics, expected batting average in the 74th percentile, expected on-base percentage in the 79th percentile, and an overall prospect score in the 98th percentile, you start to understand that the major league/line from last year is almost certainly not who Marcelo Mayer really is. It's a snapshot of a young player in an unfamiliar situation, not a verdict on his talent. There's also the Mexico City moment. Earlier this year, Mayer got the opportunity to play in front of crowds in Mexico, connecting with his heritage and his roots in a way that clearly energized him. He performed beautifully in those games. He was relaxed, confident, electric. That version of Marcelo Mayer, loose, emotional, fully present, and fired up, is exactly who the Red Sox need showing up every day in Fort Myers this spring. But let's not pretend the Red Sox have unlimited options here, because they genuinely don't. When you strip away the injured Romy Gonzalez and you look at the secondary options at second base, the picture is a little thin. Caleb Durbin could theoretically slide over from third, which would then put Andrew Monasterio at the hot corner. Workable, but not ideal. Nick Sogard gives you the benefit of a switch hitter, which helps against the left-handed pitching problem. Mickey Gasper is also a switch hitter. Ike Eichhoff is in the mix. But none of these players, and this is the honest truth, give the Red Sox the upside that Marcelo Mayer provides. You might get a marginally higher average from one of them over a short stretch, but you are not getting the ceiling, the power potential, the defensive range, or the prospect pedigree that Mayer brings to the table every single time he steps on the field. There's also an intriguing wild card that deserves mention here, and that's Christian Campbell. Today, in one of the spring training exhibitions, Campbell made a nice contact play that caught some attention, and there is a real conversation happening inside the organization about whether Campbell could factor into the second base picture, particularly as a right-handed bat against left-handed pitching. The Red Sox originally envisioned Campbell getting time in the outfield, but if the situation demands it and he keeps hitting, the team could get creative. That is a potential platoon solution worth watching as camp develops. The broader problem, though, remains the left-handed pitching weakness. With Gonzalez out and Rob Refsnyder no longer on the roster, the Red Sox suddenly find themselves shockingly short on legitimate lefty killers. Those matchup weapons that made their lineup so versatile and dangerous last season are simply not there right now. That's a roster construction issue that goes beyond any individual player, and it's something Craig Breslow and the front office are going to have to address either internally or through a roster move before the season gets underway. So where does all of this land? Here's the bottom line. Marcelo Mayer is almost certainly going to be the Boston Red Sox opening day second baseman. The alternatives are less compelling, the organization's long-term investment in him is enormous, and the spring training version of Mayer that we saw in 2025 suggests he is fully capable of making this decision easy. But Alex Cora's statement is not noise. It is a message. It is a challenge. And how Marcelo Mayer responds to it over the next several weeks of spring training will tell us everything we need to know about whether he is ready to take the next step and become a cornerstone of this franchise the way everyone in Boston has been hoping he would be since the day they drafted him. The stage is set. Baseball is back. And one young infielder has the opportunity of his career sitting right in front of him. All he has to do is grab it. Now it's your turn, Red Sox Nation. On a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are you that Marcelo Mayer is on the opening day roster? Drop your number in the comments right now, 1 being the least confident, 5 being fully locked in. Let's see where the fan base stands on this one, because this is exactly the kind of conversation that makes baseball season the greatest time of the year. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button right now. It is completely free, it helps the channel more than you know, and with baseball officially back, we are going to be bringing you content like this every single day. Like this video, if you think Mayer makes the roster, share it with a fellow Sox fan who needs to see this breakdown, and we will see you in the next one. Go Sox.
Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.